one step closer to unleashing your inner hacker. Glasses are really dirty. I can't see anything through them. What's up, nerds? Today we are going to be talking about how to learn to code. It's 2020, there's a million resources out there to teach you how to code, but you may be feeling a little bit overwhelmed with where to start and what the best way to learn is. So if you're not fam, I got you. Big Sis is here to show you the way, show you how to pave your road to becoming the coding cutie of your dreams. This is the year that computer programming has been introduced into elementary school curriculums, meaning that the kids that are now taking over TikTok will soon know how to code. They're dangerous enough as it is. So if you've ever been interested in understanding more about coding and how it can help you in your life and your career, now is the time to learn. Let's get on it. If you're under the impression that coding is something that only child prodigies and geniuses can do, you are sadly mistaken, my friend. That's just what the media wants you to think. Anyone can do it. It's really not that hard, I promise you. And this is coming from someone who pronounced quinoa as quinoa an embarrassingly small number of years ago. Super embarrassing, super embarrassing. Super embarrassing. So yeah, if I could learn how to code, anybody can. All you need is desire and patience. And this video, like and subscribe. Make sure you stay tuned till the very end when I reveal which programming languages would look the cutest on you. So before we get started, I want to make sure I covered the basics. What is code? Code in this context refers to computer programming. This means getting computers to do stuff by speaking their language. When you communicate with a computer through writing code, you're giving it instructions on what you want it to do. Quick reminder here, a computer is any machine that can be programmed to do something. So yes, your laptop, your phone, your smartwatch, these are all computers, but less obviously, computers are actually all around us. So the traffic lights, your car, your laundry machine, your TV, every single website you visit, every app that you have downloaded on your phone, all of these things would not be able to function without computer code. And the code that makes them work is sitting on some computer out there. And there's a lot of computers around us. So that's a lot of code. It's everywhere. As technology advances and our lives become easier and easier thanks to automation, there is going to be an increased demand for people who know how to write this code. If you want to be a part of making the world easier through technology, if you want to have the knowledge and skill set to be able to build things that solve problems on your own, you should learn to code.
Major key.
So now that you understand what you're getting into, how do you get into it? Great question. And I'm going to answer it by throwing another question at you. The first question you need to ask yourself when you want to learn how to code is, what do I want to use my coding skills for? What do I want to use them for? The best way to figure out where to start is to ask yourself if you want to use your coding skills to level up in your career, to solve a problem, or to build something that you're passionate about. As soon as you have a general direction, it's easier to narrow down where to get started. The possibilities for what you can do with coding skills are truly endless, but here is just a quick sample to get you started. I don't know where I'm gonna put it on the screen, so I'm just gonna point everywhere. Okay, we're done with that. My chair is really squeaky. Super squeaky chair. Okay. I could go on and on talking about all of these, and I actually do go on and on talking about the first ones in my other videos, so be sure to check those out. But instead, I will just leave them here for you to research and find which ones are most interesting to you. Then, when you find the application or two that make you excited, that make your heart flutter like a little butterfly, you have paved your first step in the path to becoming a coding cutie. And that's where you need to start. It's really important to be excited by the thing that you're learning to code for. Why? Well, because coding can be tough at the beginning. Learning anything new is tough at the beginning. So if you don't have something that's keeping you motivated and excited to learn, then you're more likely to give up during the process. So yeah, find something that's very appetizing, appealing to you, and keep that as your North Star, your general direction of where you're going with this effort that you're putting in to learn to code. Once you figure out where you want to start, all you have to do is make a lovely little Google search, something along the lines of how to learn how to code for data science, how to build apps and websites, learning to code for virtual reality or game design, whatever. Just make a Google search that involves how to code and the application that you want to learn to code for. It'll really narrow down all the resources that come up. It'll make your search more focused and targeted. Once you have a specific application in mind, it will be easier to decide where to start learning to code. And what this means for the most part is which programming language to start with. Like how humans communicate in many different languages and ways, there are many different ways to communicate with a computer depending on the kind of computer that it is and the function that you want it to do. There are hundreds of programming languages out there. Each language was constructed for a purpose, and there is some overlap between the languages. Some of them can do the same things, but they don't all do the same thing. Some are more versatile than others. Some are really good at doing one specific thing. Like I said, hundreds out there, but here are some of the main ones, some of the most popular and most widely used programming languages and what they're used for. If you want to buy apples at a fruit stand in Russia, then you probably wouldn't start speaking Spanish to the person who's selling you the apples. Similarly, you need to pick the right programming language for the end task that you want to do. It doesn't make sense to learn a language that you're not going to have any use for. So if you already know what you want to learn how to code for, it's a great way to narrow down your choices of which programming language to start with. For example, if you know that you want to eventually bring a website to life, then you should start learning languages that you work with to build websites, like JavaScript. If you still aren't exactly sure what it is you want to do with coding, and you just want to get a little taste, a little bite, a little ride around the block, take it for a spin, no worries, I got you. There are a few special languages from the list I shared earlier that are both easy to pick up on and very versatile, used for a lot of things. So I recommend that you start with one of these four if you're still not sure, if you just want to get a general taste of coding. All of these languages are higher level programming languages. What this means is that they're a bit closer to human language than machine language. Machine language is the language that a computer can directly understand. So you can think of this as the ones and zeros that you see in movie clips. The very low level instructions that a computer directly understands, that's the machine language. Now, in between our human language that we use to communicate with each other, and the machine language that computers directly understand, there are multiple levels of code and communication. So all four of these higher level languages sit towards the top. So they're a bit easier to pick up on. Long story short, high level programming languages are best to start learning for beginners. It'll just be more intuitive. Out of these four, I highlighted my very top two, my bread and butter, my BFFs, Python and JavaScript. If you are a visual person and you know at some point you're gonna wanna learn how to build a website or understand how the web works in general, you should start with JavaScript. JavaScript is the heart and soul of the internet. Every single website that's out there that you can interact with in some way has some kind of JavaScript sitting under it. So you really can't get around not learning JavaScript if you want to do anything on the web. Also, it's a really fun way to learn to code, especially, like I said, if you're a visual person, because it's for the application of web development. So when you use JavaScript, you can see your code come to life in the form of the website components that you're using it to build. My very top pick for programming is Python, or as I like to call it, the holy grail of coding. It's as cool as it sounds. It's got a cool name, Python. That was my Python impression. There is nothing it can't do. I'm obsessed with it. It's just fabulous. And one of the reasons I recommend it so much, in addition to being a high-level programming language and easy to pick up on, is because it's so incredibly versatile. There's a place for it in pretty much every application of coding. And it shows because the popularity of Python has been growing over the years and more people are using it now. You really can do a lot with it. The documentation is great. There's tons of resources out there, tutorials, and it's also the language of my field in data science. But I promise you, even if I was not in this biased position as a Python user, I would not love it any less. It's just great. It's just great. Just learn Python. That's all I gotta say. All right, friends, so now that you hopefully have an idea of which direction you want to go in with coding and how to pave your own unique path to becoming that coding cutie that I know you are, all you have to do now is actually do it. So if you really want a formal education in computer programming, computer science, then you could always take a degree program or a diploma program at a college or university. If you don't want something super formal and you just want to learn on your own, there's so many other options. There's online courses, there's coding boot camps and independent lesson programs. Of course, there's always YouTube videos, blog posts, and free content that's available to you thanks to Google, everyone's best friend. So many ways to learn, no excuses, get to it. That's it for this video. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you made it this far, really, you're so special to me. You have a special place in my heart. Please comment down below if there's anything else you want to learn about this topic or any other topic. I'd love to know what you want to know and how I can help. Now get out of here and code something, nerd.